Ready. And action. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for part 2 of Professor Victor Singing Eagle's brilliant lecture on Native American literature here at Sisseton, Wahpeton College. This is meeting 3, set for Thursday, January 30th, 2025. And now, without any further ado, it's time for your professor, Victor Singing Eagle! Yay! Okay, now, last time we were chatting, I said I was going to bug you more about Native American aesthetics. And remember, I have to stand close to my iPad because the stupid microphone broke. And I also updated e-learning. I got our today's lesson plan up here. Let's see if we can plug it in. Come on, there we go. So you can follow along, or I can actually organize what the heck I'm supposed to be talking about. So last time we were talking, I was looking at what constitutes a good story. And I was telling you that this is highly subjective. What does that mean? Well, it means it depends on the individual. What I like versus what you like, or what Aristotle likes, might be different. And it's also an issue of culture, as I hinted before. We natives, our aesthetics might be a little bit different from the Chmokmanuk, or I think they say Washichu here. My people say Chmokmanuk. The Spokanes say Suyepi. Anyway, let's focus. Aristotle, 384 to 322 BC. I'm vastly oversimplifying this, so keep in mind. He wrote a book, or I should say gave a speech called Poetics. And he broke it down, says, well, you know, a good story is a good drama, or whatever you want to call it, is going to have unity of time, unity of space, and unity of action. And as we saw before, he's heavy into these ideas of plot, theme, conflict, character, and place. So this is 300 years before Jesus Christ. That's a long time ago. Now, we're going to fast forward to the 1937. That's Christopher Booker. He basically boiled it down. He says, well, pretty much there are 7 basic plots. So here we go. We like to it's in the book, the 7 basic plots and why we tell stories. He says there's 7 of them. Number 1, overcoming the monster. The monster could be a literal monster, or it could be an formidable adversary. Then we've got a rags to riches plot line. We've got the quest. Where you go on a quest, usually it might entail a voyage, but it's usually going off to go find the ring, the one ring, and take it and throw it into Mount Mordor, whatever. And then we got voyage and return, which sometimes is combined with the quest. Then we got comedy, tragedy, and a story about rebirth. So those are the 7 basic plots according to Christopher Booker. Now, as I said before, we natives might have a problem with this. Why? Well, because a lot of our stories deal more with cyclical time versus linear time. Our stories might move in circles. Or we might start in the middle of things. The Greeks called that en medias res. So a lot of times our stories won't be told in a straight line. And our novels, our literature, our poetry might also start in the middle, or it might start at the end. Our stories oftentimes entail, one of my favorite is creation stories, which is oftentimes lacking in Western, quote unquote, literature. The term I especially like is this word etiological. You see how I put it in bold? That means it might pop up on a quiz. Ooh, what is etiological? Etiological deals with explaining why things are the way they are. We natives are really good at telling stories about etiological tales, like why does hummingbird have all those beautiful colors? Why does opossum, how did he lose all the hair off of his tail? How did raccoon get all those wonderful dark stripes that he has? We have stories. Where did Mount Shasta come from? Who built it? That's called etiological, why things are the way they are. A lot of our stories also deal with communication. Community and cooperation, because we are a tribal society. Most of us are tribal societies. So the tribe relies on us just as much as we rely on them, or the tribe. And so we have to function in that society, everybody relying on everybody else. So there's a high emphasis on cooperation. And intertwined with that is morals. A lot of our stories have a moral. Not going to be like Aesop's fables now. And the moral of the story is... No, we don't go there. We usually just tell the story and boom, stop it right there. And we won't tell. And the moral of this story, we're just going to leave it and let the kid or whoever's listening to the story figure out what the moral is. Oftentimes, it's Coyote who violates those morals, or any kind of trickster character. We have, in my tribe, we use Coyote as the culture hero. Sometimes he's naughty, sometimes he's nice, but a lot of times he's making lots of faux pas, lots of mistakes. I believe the Northwest Coast, they use Crow or Raven. Let me see, sometimes the cultural hero can be, I think here they say Iktome, but I'm not sure. Different tribes might have, different culture areas might have different culture heroes who sometimes are buffoons, who make moral errors to show us and our children how not to behave. So that leads nicely into the next one, the non-human stories. We've got lots of animals, and oftentimes the animals are cooperating to do things, to accomplish things. By the way, here's one of my big bones of contention with Western anthropology, which is, you'll often hear us say the bear people, the deer people, the bison people, and we will call ourselves the real people. What does that mean? If you hear the anthropologists tell you, they think when we call ourselves the real people, we're being ethnocentric. We are real people. Those guys over there, that tribe, no, they're not real. No, that's not what it is. I'll tell you a story about it in a minute. Why do we call ourselves the real people? Well, I already hinted at it right there where it says bear people, bison people, real people. Let me keep rolling. Spiritual, mythic, ceremonial, and sacred traditions. And the oral traditions, these are all parts of our aesthetics, parts of what we consider to be good stories. Now, let's let the people thing simmer on the back burner for a minute. I'm running out of time. I'm already 8 minutes and 47 seconds in, so I'm going to stop this video and do part 3. Thanks so much. Talk later. Bye-bye.